E te māngai, as we've just seen, these speeches are supposed to be light-hearted. Unfortunately, though, this government leaves anyone with a heart feeling pretty bloody heavy. What I remember from Sunday school, Mr. Speaker, is that the point of Christmas is supposed to be about love. But love is so abstract in this building. In fact, I'd say...
We're at the end of the year, and we're heading for Christmas, and there should not be a case where someone can get up and swear in this Parliament, like we just heard.
To be honest, there was so much noise going on, I didn't actually hear what the member said. All I could hear was something about Sunday school, which is not really going to line up with the idea that she was swearing.
What is the swear word that's being accused?
Well, you tell me. What'd you say?
Well, I can start the speech again if you'd like, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, politicians file in here and use fancy words and actively distance the people that they say that they are supposed to represent. And Mr. Speaker, it makes people feel crazy, because it is crazy. And I know that these end-of-year debates are supposed to contain a few good jabs and jokes. Political party leaders, as our Prime Minister amply demonstrated, are handed speeches by their staff members to make us all sound a little bit funny and perhaps, maybe, like normal people. We come in here and we deliver them and we wait for the clock to tick over. And that's that. The parliamentary year is over. The game shuts up shop. But Mr. Speaker, this game sucks. And Mr. Speaker, the people out there know it. And the people up there in the gallery and members of the media know it too. Right now, you win this political game, not necessarily by improving society, not by doing what the evidence says will mean that people and planet are healthier. Right now, you win the rules of this game by getting the most media cut through, by dominating the headlines, by saying the most outrageous and at times offensive things. Now, Mr. Speaker, there's not a whole lot of time nor space for thorough consideration, for people to properly tease over the substance or lack thereof in the sound bites. Mr. Speaker, there are so few instances where people in this House actually have to sit here and listen to each other. The last time that happened was during the official abuse in state and faith-based care apology, where the Prime Minister apologised on behalf of all governments who had come before for their hand in perpetuating the neglect and the torture of hundreds of thousands of people. That same day, I got an email from Aaron Hendry, who runs Kickback's outreach service, The Front Door, a project on Auckland Central's Karangahape Road with the key aim of ending rangatahi homelessness. And Mr. Speaker, as the news notifications were dinging on Aaron's phone about the official apology, he was working to try and house 2 state care experienced and neglected young people. While the Prime Minister made promises in here about how those horrors will never happen again, out there in the real world, his government's decisions to limit access to emergency housing meant that 2 young people were sleeping rough on the street. I don't have anything funny to say about that. Children are homeless because of the decisions that are made in this place. And Prime Minister, I frankly do not understand. I don't understand why your government has knowingly and actively made choices to put more kids in poverty and to pour fuel on the climate crisis fire. Prime Minister, your government tells us that your top priority is economic growth and prosperity, but your very own half-year economic and fiscal update released yesterday showed us that your government's decisions to mercilessly cut public spending is actively deteriorating that growth and that productivity that you say that you care about. This government tells us that it's all about the economy while threatening the vital ecosystems that underpin life as we know it. Where do you think that economy comes from? The government is making more people unemployed than punching down on those beneficiaries. The government tells us that it cares about localism, then it strips away local decision-making. The government is enabling mining in conservation land and commercial fishing in high protected areas. Where I come from, Mr. Speaker, words mean things. But in this place, you cannot say that somebody is lying if they are lying. In this place, you cannot say that something is racist if it is racist. Mr. Speaker, we can get up here at the end of the year and we can make jokes, but we cannot call a spade a spade. But Mr. Speaker, at times we have rare moments of clarity, where daily politics is put aside and something bigger than all of us is pulled into sharp focus. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, a lot of times this year that has looked like tragedy. And we have had our fair share of that this year. Mr. Speaker, I am here without my friend and co-leader, the Honourable Marama Davidson, who is in the middle of cancer treatment. I have never met a stronger person, and Marama demonstrates that strength through love and through service, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the day after Valentine's Day, Whaanana Efeso Collins stood in this chamber, actually directly from this seat, and he declared that there is a saying in Samoan, "Elu tu whaamaa se tangata." No one stands alone, no one succeeds alone, and for me, no one suffers alone. Just a week later, the utter devastating shock as we lost him. Efeso passed as he had lived, actively serving our communities, literally in the middle of a charity run. I want to acknowledge members across the House, particularly our friends in Labour and Te Pāti Māori, for the aroha that you wrapped around us that day and in those following weeks. We will never forget that. This year, Mr. Speaker, our nation also lost our kingi, Tu heitia po tātou te whiro te tuawhitu. Kingi taught me that ignorance is not a reason to be fearful, but an invitation to learn and to participate. That kotahitanga requires all of us not to run away from discomfort, but to sort through it and to sit with the mess of our humanity and our experiences and our trauma to find our shared strength. And then, Mr. Speaker, just this past month, we lost the Honourable Nikki Kaye. She was respected across this House because she stood so strongly for things. She even crossed the floor to do that. Some things she knew were far, far bigger than partisan politicking. Because politics does not have to be this cynical game. Politics can and should be about regular people working together to solve the big issues. Prime Minister, your government has a multi-billion-dollar revenue problem, but your government has painted itself into the corner with promises to not fix the tax system that you know, personally, as well as politically, rewards property speculation and robs us of investment necessary in our infrastructure. There is not a reputable economist in this country who would argue against a capital gains tax. So do it. Prime Minister, you yourself have acknowledged that your government's decisions have inflamed race relations in this country. So stop it. Prime Minister, during the election, you said that the policies of one of your new coalition parties targeting the rainbow community were, quote, on another planet. But those same policies now underpin your coalition agreements, and your support on the Treaty Principles Bill didn't even cost your coalition partner a bottom line. Mr. Prime Minister, has selling out on everything that matters been worth it for the price of power? Because if the estimated 100,000 people that this government has managed to mobilise against their attacks on Te Tiriti o Waitangi tell us anything, it is that your power, Mr. Prime Minister, will be fleeting. Despite the coalition's best attempts to divide and conquer this country, I have never seen the people more unified to uphold our founding agreement. People understand that Te Tiriti o Waitangi protects all of us, that it is a shield against giant multinational corporations exploiting Aotearoa, the final safeguard against unfettered greed, but more than that, our guidebook to a fair, just, peaceful today and tomorrow. And Mr. Speaker, in the coming year, as more and more people twig to the fact that they are not crazy, but that this system is, we will continue to see the growing power of people. Activists will grow into organisers. Organisers will channel that energy into redistributing power and knowledge and resources. Democracy will work as it should, for the people, by the people. Mr. Speaker, we want to acknowledge and thank the people behind the scenes who make this place work. The cleaners, security, the office of the clerk and the House office, the library researchers, maintenance team, IST, payroll, HR, Copperfields, and everyone in the Green Party parliamentary team. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.